Welcome to the Real Boardloft. I'm Forman, and this is the lost El Patron, the boss. This is Matt Biolis's personal shortboard design, and actually I've got my El Patron in Matt's personal dims. It's actually 6'5", 20 point something, maybe 20.88, and I'm just scraping the wax off here, 2.9, and so it's got quite a bit of foam, 41.5 liters, and which obviously, and not even obviously, there's a lot of 41.5 liter boards that paddle, not all that well. This thing slides through the water pretty easy, especially for a shortboard, which I think a lot of people negate the ease of paddling a shortboard. They think grovelers paddle easier, but a lot of times grovelers push a lot of water because they got the wide nose in the front, where I found this board to actually paddle relatively easy for a shortboard, and a lot of that is just because it's a little bit more streamlined. So when Matt's making this board, obviously for himself, he's trying to make it as good as it could possibly be, but a couple things are different about this board compared to a lot of other higher volume shortboards. A lot of other higher volume shortboards are just scaled up 510s or scaled up 511s, and once in a while you can get lucky and have that work for a bigger guy, a bigger surfer, or somebody that just needs more foam. But a lot of times it could backfire on you, and the design just runs into a wall and doesn't work above a certain size. This board, with Matt specifically testing it himself, there's a few different things that are incorporated into this board that make it quite a bit different than just scaling up a 510 or 511. One of them, which is I think probably the easiest to see, is the stringer. So he goes with a thinner, because the boards are generally thicker, you don't need as much of a stringer to keep it from breaking, because the actual thickness of the board keeps it from breaking. So they're able to put a thinner stringer in it, which retains the high performance flex of a much smaller, thinner board. So you don't end up with this giant stiff brick that paddles great but feels like junk in the turns. You end up with a board that'll bend and flex and spring out of the turns. And you could definitely feel that when you're surfing this board. The other things that are going on is, because it has more foam for paddling, for catching waves, for burning around the lineup and being competitive in a crowded lineup, you don't want to put as much concave in the board. So the board's got a little bit shallower concave setup throughout than like what you would see on a 510, because it's using the foam for lift rather than just the concave for lift. The next thing is that, I would say this board's got a great range. It doesn't perform at its peak level in super small waves, like some of the boards like a sub driver or a baby buggy that just rip in really small waves. This board, looking at like what Matt rides, like he'll ride a puddle jumper when it's small, or even something else even smaller than that. He'll ride a puddle jumper, he'll ride a V3 rocket, and then he'll go to this board, and then he'll go to a step up of this board. So thinking about where that's placed, he's generally not riding crummy waves on this board. He's riding better waves on it, and that's where the range of this board is tuned in. It's tuned in for better waves, not necessarily like scary waves or giant tubing waves, but just better waves, like where you can actually get on a board. You're like, okay, I really want to maximize my performance on this wave, and meaning like, yeah, I want to catch waves, but I also want to be able to be on the wave and turn and hit the parts of the wave that I want to, and not be limited by my board. This is the type of board that you would want to look at. Having not surfed shortboards like of this, I've been surfing grovelers or fish or stuff like that, but pointy nose shortboards, not as much recently. I still found it really easy to get on and surf it, and I think for the market that this board is targeted to, that's super important, because you need every bit of help that you can get. And I think this board, the paddle ability of it, the paddle speed, the wave catching was really good. It just made it easy to go out and ride a pointy nose shortboard and have fun on it. I rode this board, and had fun on it anywhere from like a good shaped waist to stomach high wave and bigger, and had a really good time on it. Both in frontside waves, backside waves, like split peak reef waves, point break reef waves, and then also a little bit here in Cape Hatteras. Although the majority of the time I surfed this board was in Puerto Rico. So really good all around board if you're either you know, if you're just looking for an easier to surf shortboard with more volume in it, that was made to have more volume in it, this is a really good board to look at it. And again, it's quite a bit different than just scaling a standard 510 or a 511 up. There's a lot more that goes into it than that. So it's the El Patron from Lost Surfboards. If you have any questions about the El Patron or you want to place an order, you can give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000, or you can look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.